I probably won't be playing this game much more, but not for the reason you think. Pacific Drive is a newly released survival crafter / driving / sci-fi / paranormal horror game that truly brings a unique concept to the table. In this video, I'll be giving a full review of the game, rating it from decaf to fully caffeinated. Without further ado, let's grind this game down and see how it brews. The story of this game is absolutely wild. You play as a delivery driver who randomly gets sucked into the Olympic exclusion zone, an area that has been cordoned off after some supernatural experiments went wrong. Set in the 90s, this game definitely has some nostalgic vibes, and you will find yourself being weirdly bonded to a station wagon that you later discover is something called a remnant. The world is absolutely wild. There's heaps of different anomalies, a hostile environment, and a whole lot of weird things that occur. And if there's anything that's certain about this game, it's that nothing is certain in this game. Pacific Drive definitely nails building a suspense-filled and downright creepy atmosphere, which is a big part of the reason why I'm not overly keen to jump back behind the wheel. This game is definitely not one for the faint of heart, and it definitely falls into the paranormal horror category in terms of story and world building. Overall, Pacific Drive has an amazing storyline that keeps you on the edge of your seat the entire time. The world is thoughtfully constructed and really captures the paranormal vibe of the game, and it's definitely a thriller horror type game, so if you're a bit of a wuss like me, it may not be for you. But my complete cowardice aside, for story and world building, I'm rating Pacific Drive as fully caffeinated. Pacific Drive features a ton of in-depth and well thought out mechanics. The basic concept of the game sees you completing runs into the zone to collect resources and uncover the zone's secrets in an attempt to escape the zone altogether. Your car is your absolute best friend and key to survival in this game, and you can upgrade it, repair it, and research new equipment, plan your runs, all that sort of thing in your base, which is an abandoned garage. There's a whole lot of different materials to collect and items to craft to upgrade your car, with a huge research tree that offers so much flexibility as to how you want to approach the gameplay. The survival aspect is a time and a half. You've got storms to outrun, weird mechanical robots to evade, and do not get me started on the tourists. If you know, you know. The jump points and what you need to collect to be able to activate them definitely make it more challenging to complete a run, and the other objectives for discovery add an extra twist and that extra drive to discover different things as you explore. Alongside all of this, there's also a mystery element to the game. You need to scan anomalies and objects to work out how they can be used or what effects they might have on you or your car. So in this game, because your car is a remnant, it means it's a sentient being, and it will start exhibiting some sorts of quirks as you progress through the game. Now, if you can successfully work out what this quirk is and diagnose it in your workshop, it unlocks a whole range of different things that you can do with that quirk, like upgrading it and all sorts of things, which is a really, really cool addition to the game. The general exploration side of the game is a whole mystery in itself. There is so much to explore, so many anomalies you can discover, and so much depth to the world. I didn't have any bugs in particular in this game, but I did find the controller mapping a little bit weird. I found it a little bit odd having the right bumper as the main interaction key, and I did have some issues accessing some of the menus with some of the buttons on the controller as well, but this did work perfectly on keyboard and mouse. You can definitely tell this game was designed to play on keyboard and mouse, but there is actually some controller remapping options, so it's definitely not a deal breaker. You just might want to check those out if you're finding them a little bit weird like I did. Now, I know I said I was a wuss earlier, and I was really happy to see that there's a lot of accessibility options in the menus. You do have options to turn off a bunch of the different conditions and gameplay features. You can turn off dying, you can turn off losing health, you can turn off taking car damage, you can turn off storms, you can turn off pretty much everything. So you can completely customize your gameplay experience and suit it to your difficulty level or preferred anxiety level. Overall, Pacific Drive has some really solid mechanics that are pretty unique and feel pretty balanced. The game feels really well executed, and I didn't come across any major bugs. I would recommend looking at your controller mapping if you're unhappy with how the controller works, and definitely look at the gameplay settings if you're a wuss like me. But for game mechanics, I'm rating Pacific Drive as fully caffeinated. The graphic design of Pacific Drive is done really well. The game feels realistic enough to be set in this environment, and there's lots of nods to the time period, which I really love. The station wagon design is definitely A+ in my book. I love the customization options, and I love how you can change the complete vibe of your car. The way the supernatural elements are added is also incredible. There's so much design that's gone into creating these different elements, and I think they've executed the concepts in the game really well in terms of the graphic design. The graphics definitely create the supernatural world, and they do so in a really engaging and beautiful way. The sound design of this game is amazing. The sound effects add so much depth to the game. I particularly love the car sound effects. The horn honking, the lights turning off, your wipers, all of it is just really well thought out. And I love how much design has really gone into this game. The soundtrack sets the perfect eerie vibe and really elevates the game to a fully immersive experience and creates that thriller suspense element to the game. I think the voice acting and narration to the story is done really well. I particularly love how the sound changes from when you're in the car to when you're outside of the car. I think that's fantastic. Overall, the graphics and sound work really well together to create a creepy, eerie, what is going to jump out at me environment that is perfect for this game. So, for graphic and sound design, I'm rating Pacific Drive as fully caffeinated. Pacific Drive is really difficult to compare to other games. I think the closest kind of game that I could even start to compare it to would actually be State of Decay 2, which is completely different. We see a lot of familiar mechanics like the resource collection, the scavenging, the driving, the crafting, and so on. But the world environment and the context of them is so different to anything else. I think the way they've implemented these mechanics is completely unique and unlike any other game I've played. The survival aspect adds an extra really cool twist, and the whole vibe of the game is just executed so well. I really love that we're getting a different twist on an apocalyptic type game with not a zombie in sight, although I could go without the tourists in my game experience. Overall, it's a truly unique game that is packed to the brim with amazing features and design elements. So for originality, I'm rating Pacific Drive as fully caffeinated. Pacific Drive is really a game that brings something completely new to the table. The game world is next level, creating a really cool world environment with an amazing story to pair with it, even if it does give me complete anxiety every time I play. And the mechanics are really well designed, combining some familiar mechanics into a cocktail of paranormal horror goodness that will definitely keep you on the edge of your seat. The graphic and sound design pair really well together to deliver this world environment and convey the story, and the game feels completely unique to anything else. It's definitely not one for the faint of heart, but there is a whole lot of customization options so you really can tailor the gameplay experience to your preferences. We've ground the beans, we've carefully weighed and pressed the grinds and brewed this game down. Now it's time for a taste test. Pacific Drive is fully caffeinated. Pacific Drive is available on PlayStation 5, Steam, and Epic right now. You can find the Steam link in the description below. The playtime is around 12 to 14 hours for purely the story, with an additional 10 to 30 hours in side content. So it's actually kind of a bargain for its price point. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it has helped you make up your mind as to whether or not you are brave enough to jump into the zone. I think I've finally worked up the courage to jump back in, especially after talking about how incredible this game is. So wish me luck and stay caffeinated.